Greetings, everyone, on the sci fiction awesomeness. My name is Owen Cotter. You're watching sci fiction on Facebook, sci fiction on YouTube, and Twitch, and Twitter, and everywhere and beyond. If you're listening to this on Subspace Radio Network, this will be episode 53 on the Subspace Radio iHeart channel for Sci Fiction Radio. The today's show, we're going to have an amazing guest. Our good pal Randolph Allen of Vice Admiral of the Federation will be joining us here shortly. And we've got a couple little news updates to go over here, so let me bring those up real quick on the screen of Maru. Here we go. So we had a lot of stuff go down. We just got a new writer for the site. It's focusing more on video game content as well as we've got a lot of other things going on in the television and movies and all kind of stuff beyond. We've got the Ahsoka Episode 8 finale of the Ahsoka television series for Lucasfilm Disney Plus. The review is on the site, so if you click that, if you have not seen it, I would recommend watching it first, then watching the review, because there are spoilers in that, heavy spoilers in that review. We got Gen V Episode 4 review, in comes tonight. There's also a cool article about the auction that Prop Store is doing, where they're going to be auctioning off a bunch of Anthony Daniels props, plus 1,800 lots, estimated at $13.8 million, I believe, of props and movie memorabilia and all kind of goodies. They'll be doing that in November. We are in this week on, I believe it's October the 12th. We will have Brandon Allinger from Prop Store of London here on the broadcast. We'll be airing that the following week. It'll be awesome. That'll be episode 54 on Subspace when you're listening to that. So stay tuned for that awesomeness, because he's always fun to talk to. He knows a lot about Star Wars and props and movie memorabilia. It's super cool to talk to him. See what else we got. And we got this awesome article. If you have not played this game, it came out a while back, but it's a review, kind of an homage to when the game playthrough for the Red String Club. It's a cyberpunk sci-fi kind of noir video game, and it's I think it's on Steam. I recommend checking this article out. It's a super cool game. Our new writer Dia wrote this article, and she's specializing in video games. There's her profile there. We just put it on the Gravatar system, so she is writing about a lot of video game content. Of course, we have our other writers as well. And there's that. And let's see other few items we got here. We got, of course, Mark Hamill's going to be, I believe, coming up in, if he already has done that, I think it's going to be in October, yeah. So 17 was his last appearance. November 24th, he will be in San Francisco, until the 26th. So, yeah, he'll be there in November around Thanksgiving time for his first appearance at a convention. Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker himself, since 2017 Fan Expo. So there's the bulk of the news items for that. I think, hold on just a second, bring this back. People that's joining us, my name is Owen Cotter. I run sci-fiction and all the goodies of sci-fiction goodness. We have Randolph Allen here on the back burner in the waiting room like in Quantum Leap. Let's bring him on.
Hey, Owen.
Hey, what's up, man? How's it going? Woo! Happy weekend almost. In a few days.
Yeah, I can hear. I've been fiddling with new equipment since we last talked. So
very cool. You look not as Quantum Leapified.
Well, I'm working on it. You know, give me some time. I mean, I got the blinky lights and everything.
Oh, awesome. Have you seen that new series? I've only seen like one episode. Is it pretty good?
I have not delved into Quantum Leap yet. I mean, I've been doing Trek and Star Wars stuff as of late.
I just watched the last finale of Ahsoka. That was pretty dope. They kind of left it on a little, without spoiling a cliffhanger, kind of, yeah.
Oh, they're already talking about. Don't worry, they're already talking about what's going to be in the future.
Right. Well, Filoni's got that movie, right?
Well, there's talk about him doing the movie. That goes without saying. But there is also talk that they started filming on Ahsoka season 2. I mean, just that soon. Season 2 is supposed to be dealing with Ahsoka and Sabine and basically Peridia. So basically what we're looking at there. They're leaning to some stuff that are going into Legends.
Yeah.
If people haven't seen the final scenes of Ahsoka season 8,
yeah.
A lot of them will understand what I'm talking about. But Legends has a figure in there that is supposedly part of the Gods of Mortis, but not quite.
Yeah.
So
statues at the end or whatever too.
Well, yeah. I mean, I follow a few other podcasts, which they like to spend a little bit more analysis time on it, but it helps
Mhm.
me make my analysis.
Right.
So, but yeah, this is from the last series of books that they did before Disney bought Lucasfilm. So
Okay.
they have pretty much covered a lot of the legend stuff. I mean, it looks like they're going to attempt to do Heir of the Empire.
Oh wow, makes sense.
That's
If you
what
got Thrawn in there.
right. Well, I mean, Thrawn. This is where Thrawn is supposed to shine. Is in this time frame,
Right.
and the fact that they brought him back in, that's really great.
Mhm.
Um, I like the idea that we're going to see probably when they start this series. That's probably the movie that they're talking about.
Right. The
Uh,
heir to like the one that Filoni's doing or whatever.
right. That would be it because it will be covering aspects of the Mandalorian,
Hmm.
the Book of Boba Fett, um, what we've seen in Ahsoka thus far. Um, we might see a little bit of a Skywalker Leia story happening. I mean,
Luke Skywalker.
well, here's the thing. Um, no, we haven't really gone through the story on how Luke trained Leia.
Right. The only time we
Right.
saw that was in the Rise of Skywalker briefly. Yeah.
And even in that was there are several books out about the rise and fall of Princess Leia
Hmm.
as as she is in the New Republic, basically going from a senator in the New Republic
Hmm.
to the leader of the Resistance.
Okay.
So that is her role. So it, part of the issue of that movie is it's setting it up.
Right.
You know,
Because she's
so
in Soka, she's a senator, and then later
right,
on she becomes like back to the Resistance. Or,
right. So, but the thing is that when we're talking about her, her in Rise of Skywalker,
right.
that's another
15.
10,
Maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
another 18 years down the road,
Yeah.
and there's still the story of the animation series Resistance.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact,
Came out the Rebels.
the senator that is giving Hera all the grief,
Mm.
he factors big in Resistance. He's the leader of Hosnia, which blows
The
up.
one that's on the board with Hera, right? Or
Yeah,
the round, yeah.
yeah, the one who does not like Hera.
Right.
Right, that he's the head senator for the planet Hosnia in Resistance. Okay, and the beginning of the Rise of Skywalker era.
Mm-hmm.
The return of or the rise of Rey Skywalker.
Ray Skywalker. That's right.
Right, and I have a feeling that they've talked about bringing back
Well,
Daisy.
they're doing another movie with her, I believe. That's what I was going to
Yeah,
say.
and I believe it's they're going at it as a post discussion. What
Yeah.
happened after the Battle of Exegol with her? She's the next. Um,
Like
like
Jedi
America,
Master or whatever.
she is the true um, next evolutionary step of the Jedi.
Right.
Whereas Ahsoka is kind of a throwback to the old days,
Mm-hmm.
and Luke is kind of sort of doing something. But if you can tell by the time of Rise of Skywalker, Luke is kind of pissed off,
Kind of pissed off.
the universe,
Considerably.
pissed off and hates the universe a little bit.
Right.
He starts to realize, the thing is that there's a really good line from Ahsoka season 5. No, season, episode 5, which was Anakin basically giving Ahsoka the proper telling off. It's like you're too much stuck in the past, and you have to evolve for the future,
Right.
and it may not be what you know about Jedi then or now, but it's going to be what the Jedi are going to be because you're kind of sort of leading that charge.
Right.
But as I pointed out, there's a lot of context with Ahsoka with the gods of Mortis.
Yes, at the end especially. Yeah.
Right. So with that in mind, that's kind of where they are. Is that where really is Ahsoka in all this?
Right.
We may not even see Ahsoka in Heir of the Empire.
Possibly
We may not see
another
that.
galaxy. That's true.
Right.
But what
She may
about the season 2 of Andor? Was there any news on that, or like what do you think's going to go on with that?
Second season, and I don't know when they're done. But from what I've heard, is not much different than that they're going to press on with with their existing storylines, but they're going to do them in. They're going to do them in. They're not going to do a huge meta plot like they did in this one, where
Right.
in Andor we had um, we had Mon Mothma's arc, we have Andor's arc, we have um, our
Plus, they got
secret.
Luthen's arc kind of a little bit too.
Yeah, so we're going through a lot of arcs here, just set up for A New Hope. But basically we're going to see, as I'm being told, these they're going to be little mini story arcs where you know right now I think we're at 10 years before, um 10 years before A New Hope.
New Hope, yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically the
Let's
same.
see.
Same.
Andor takes place. Let me see. If your Andor is a little bit before New Hope, it's about, let's say, it's 5 years before Rogue One, which is
Right.
barely even a few months, maybe a week before.
So
The other. So
I like that in 5 years. Like for instance, we know that Mon Mothma is a senator up until um, close to eight,
with the
9 years.
Rebels, she was still a senator too.
Right, and then she became a senator on the run.
Mhm.
And then we have, so I would say that Andor will parallel that to some respect. They may even cross paths a few times, because
That'd be cool.
the great thing about Andor is that Andor is going to be doing all this dirty work for the rebels for the next 5 years.
But he'll be on the Rebel side up until Rogue One, right?
Yeah.
I gotta ask you a question. Rogue One was done by Gareth Edwards. Have you seen his new movie, The Creator?
No, I have not. So I have friends who have told me. They've talked to me about it. So I'm probably going to have to, come out of my cave and go to a movie theater and watch
I
it.
highly recommend seeing it, man. It's pretty cool. It's got it's powerful. It's a powerful film with action packed. It's got all kind of different themes on it.
So just remember, we're all trying to save Prodigy here. So
when is I mean, they said they're going to continue forward with that. They just haven't found a streaming network yet to put it on.
I haven't heard anything on that. As a matter of fact, a lot of people are starting to talk about the future of Trek.
Yeah.
In this regard,
one of the things I want to talk to you about.
Yeah. Let me put it this way: anytime I see a good run in Trek, it's really good.
Mhm.
And then if it has to fade away for a little while, it's always good for the franchise because people have gotten a taste of Trek, and then the fan fiction starts to flow. And I mean,
that's right.
I saw another thing not so long ago from Sam Cockings and Stuart Foley.
Oh, those guys are great.
Yeah, and they put together a documentary about dealing with the Pakled War, which is part of Lower Decks.
Right.
But it didn't do Lower Decks. They did a live action video with a lot. And as you know about Sam Cockings, he's really good at the CGI work.
For sure.
So he brought us in, some Centaur classes, some Excelsiors, Defiance. He got a lot of. I didn't see, the only scratch built I saw was the Packlet ship, and it was brand spanking new model.
Where was this at? Where would you see this at?
YouTube. I'll dig it up. I don't remember the name of the video. It came out. It didn't come out that long ago. It came out about 2 or 3 months ago, and it's basically a documentary style, like they did for Prelude to Axonar. So they're a bunch of guys behind green screens, in Starfleet uniforms, all talking about what their ship was doing when the Packlet showed up.
Yeah.
It's
all like minimal sets, mostly green screen stuff because of the sets.
Yeah. So they and part of that storyline was they're talking about running in with the Packlets and trying to develop some sort of non-aggression treaty with them, and everyone under the sun comes to the party and instead of helping the situation, they make it worse. Right. In typical Packlet fashion, so it's a comedy of errors. We do see the Luna there. We do see the Titan there. We do see Enterprise E show up. Stark thinking he could sort it out better than most people. But it's. I'm not going to ruin it. It's just it's a good
series. It really is a great series.
Favorite ships. Yeah.
You think they renew it for another season?
For what?
Lower
For
decks.
Lower Decks? Yeah, I think Lower Decks got their. I think they've already got their seasons already set up. I don't think they're in any trouble losing anything on that level.
What about Strange New World season
Know that
two?
they did the filming.
Yeah,
I already knew that they pretty much got all the work done on Prodigy for
right.
second season done. They just need to stream.
You got to find a
So
streaming platform for it.
right, and maybe not even streaming service, but actually get it onto a network.
Yeah,
Um, that would be good too. I mean, the thing about Prodigy that most people are going to have to understand. It's a kids show.
yeah.
They wrote it as a
Very
kids
beautiful. The
show.
animation's gorgeous, though. The
Yeah,
animation looks great. Yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me if CW decided to buy it, and because they already have people who
Not
did the
a
work.
bad platform for it. I didn't think about that. That's not a bad idea.
But
What about
CW
Strange
would
New
use it.
Worlds? What do you think about that? They kind of cliffhangered on season two.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
I will tell you. I'm going to say I have commentary on that. I have two commentaries on this. First of
yeah,
all, the first commentary everyone's going to like. I like Strange New Worlds, and I do like its direction it's going into. Okay, but my critique is their use of the Gorn,
yeah,
simply because the Gorn are supposed to be an unknown enemy into the original series.
right.
Okay, and if that's not my idea of a showstopper. That's just my idea of a critic. That's a
That was
criticism.
Arena, but the classic series with the Gorn back in the '60s.
Yeah, Rena had the original episode, and Enterprise also brought the Gorn in as well, but they did it through a mirror episode
Mhm.
as opposed to Prime Universe episode. So, in looking at the use of the Gorn, I'm not saying the Gorn don't use the Gorn at all and
Right.
don't change the storyline. I mean, I want you to understand the Gorn are scary kids, and we haven't had a scary villain in a long time.
Very scary.
I would have preferred. My preference would be, and a lot of my friends understand this, is that I would have preferred the Kazinti or the Zitkanthi, which we had. The only reason why the Kazinti aren't being used is that requires Paramount to talk to Larry Niven, who's the creator of the Kazinti race, and the
Right.
Zitkanthi was kind of this stand-in race that no one really sees ever
No, you
for
see,
the Kazinti. When they bring up, oh, we're having problems with the Zitkanthi again, they go, oh yeah, well those guys, oh yeah,
you
you
don't really
know.
ever see much of it. You know.
You don't even know what one looks like.
Right.
Star Trek Online finally decided to address that issue. Uh, that's not considered canon, though. Picard season 3 seems to think Star Trek Online is canon, so that works for me.
For sure.
So
What do you think about like this? So you got a lot of sci-fi shows coming out now. What
yeah,
do you think about like you got Star Trek, you got Star Wars? Is there any other stuff you're looking forward to that may be coming out, or any kind of video games too? There's a lot of gaming, so like Starfield that just came out.
I'm getting interested in the idea of looking at Starfield as a game.
Looks great.
I used to play Eve Online quite a bit, and but this thing, it looks like Starfield is a pure RPG versus Eve's format.
Right.
And look, this is something about what most people don't realize about Eve. Eve is a very immersive game.
It is.
I mean, it shares a lot of DNA with, and by that I mean spiritual DNA with Blizzard's World of Warcraft,
Yes.
where
Yes.
you can take your character and go out there and you are just doing nothing but mining all day or whatnot.
Hanging out.
And but I mean, any sort of career that you can think of in the real world,
Mm.
Eve will have one as well. You have manufacturers. You have I promote. I love promoting. You have manufacturers. You have hunters,
Smugglers. Right.
smugglers. Yeah, there's just some guys whose sole purpose in life is to run cargo from low sec space to high sec space and vice versa.
Right.
And they're not looking for any fights or any trouble. They just want you to understand, it's going to cost X amount of money to load the thing, and be prepared to have it insured. So if you lose your cargo, if you lose your cargo because of pirates,
Pirates.
opportunistic
Space
individuals
pirates.
with bigger starships, yes.
Right.
Uh,
I ask you, 'cause starships, like they did a lot of creative stuff with the starship building system in there. They even have
Yeah,
people create stuff like the Futurama ship, the Millennium Falcon, Star Destroyers, all that. What do you think
I
about
saw
that?
that, and
Yeah.
and I can already tell you in Starfield that will probably become an industry where people are building a starship of a certain way, of a certain style, and all you need to do is have your player have the necessary skill set to fly the thing.
For sure. You've got all
I,
the skins and renders. You can probably customize it to the wazoo, man.
oh
It's
yeah,
crazy.
I would say right now that is on. I would say that's kind of right now in a more of a developmental stage. They don't
Mhm.
want the player, they want the players to have their fun, but you don't want to kind of you don't want to kind of give them access to the kingdom yet.
Right. Yeah, there's some updates and some like paywall stuff and
Like, well, regarding find issues with the system, and
mhm.
they were, I guarantee you, they would rather have something, have the players find something that breaks in gameplay
Right.
than worrying about what they can do with customizable skins.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, that's where it's going to come down to it. So at that point, you're trying to figure out what are we going to do, and and how we're going to build on it. But I mean, from what I've seen, the graphics are great.
Oh,
I
gorgeous.
already know that they put in was it? They had a guy who passed away during the development of the game, but it was
Yes, they
they
dedicated like a note in there or something like a
right,
letter.
find a note for him that he wrote for the future gameplay, saying, "Hey, you guys are going to really have lots of fun with the game
Pretty cool though if you think about it. You can find it
with
in the
you."
game.
It's not that much different. I mean, in Star Wars on the line,
Mhm.
um, they do memorials all the time for one of the big stars. So they're starting to. I think originally they started off with like statues, like when Leonard Nimoy passed.
Yeah.
Um, they put a statue of him, and they still have it. They have a statue of him on New
It's in there
Romulus
somewhere, yeah.
and on Vulcan.
Mhm.
Um, but he's also mentioned in the Starfleet War Memorial
Hmm.
in um, in Earth Space Dock,
In like the
and
database or whatever.
yeah, so there's there's a significant amount of Star Trek Easter eggs within the game system of Star Trek Online. So
Very
yeah,
cool. Yeah, that game's amazing. I played it on. I was at PS4. I was the
right.
one I played on. I was pretty. I don't know, big old monsters TV. It was like walking around this all generated universe is totally cool. Man.
Oh yeah, and they keep up and the game was it? I think it's moving into its 12th
12th or something
season.
over a decade. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I want you to understand. Star Trek Online was in its infancy when I was playing Eve,
Yeah.
and to watch it now to provide foundation for Picard season 3,
Mhm.
hopefully Star Trek Legacy.
Mhm.
I mean, there is talk about getting Tim Matalas, the guy who did Star Trek
Right.
season 3, to showrun Legacy
Mhm.
because
They
apparently he
got a
got.
lot of petitions for. I actually signed the petition recently for that.
Oh
A
yeah,
lot.
but that's not up to. That's not unfortunately, we the fans, and we do have a strong voice. Don't get me wrong,
For sure.
but at the end of the day, it's going to be what the suits want to do at the Ivory Tower. That's Paramount.
Ivory Towers at Paramount. I love it.
I mean, I also play Vampire the Masquerade, so there we go, man.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so, but the thing is that that's the issue. If they don't see
Mhm.
the money to me made off of Trek,
Right.
they're just not going to do it. Now, the thing is that Strange New Worlds
Mhm.
has the cast not only
Right.
is involved. I mean, you and I have both met some of the cast members
Yep.
of Strange New Worlds, and you know that they're not just invested in this as a job.
No.
They are invested in this is that they realize that they are setting themselves up as role models for fans,
Right.
and
I mean, Ethan
and
Peck himself's a fan. He was sitting in on panels and hanging out with everybody down there at the event
right,
last year.
right, and I mean, well, you'll see me at FedEx this year, so
Yeah, I'll be down there, man. I'll be down there doing all kinds of stuff. I think they got a podcast stage this year. I
well,
heard
that's
that.
great. I'll just come to your podcast station,
You come down to the podcast stage and hang out. We're gonna have the go around making the rounds, and there might be
I'll
on
wear
some
a dress
panels.
uniform for that event. I'll wear my lower decks dress uniform for that.
Awesome. I love it.
So
You got a lower decks one. Oh shit.
yeah. Well, I used to have the insurrection one, but then my figure grew out of it. So now I have lower decks, and it's actually quite comfortable. So I will
Yeah, I
continue to
like
wear
the
it.
design of those uniforms, a little bit more modern, updated from the original ones from
Well,
Insurrections.
yeah, and that's part of the fun of the fandom is that we get to sit down there and everyone's like, well, what's the uniform of your ship like? Well, I go, we haven't worn a standard uniform since 2010. We're
Right.
not going to do
Especially
that.
kind of Enterprise was like a flight suit, basically.
Oh, I would love to do. I would love to wear
Those are
that.
awesome uniforms, by the way. I like that they have like where the communicator goes, a little zipper pocket. You pop it out. And communicate.
Dude, that thing was a true flight suit. That was based off of the NASA flight suit.
Yeah.
They just took the collar off and made you wear a black T-shirt or a black.
Chuck Yeagers of us for Starfleet over.
Yeah. So.
Do you think that any of those characters? I know they've made a lot of references to Archer and Bakula and stuff like that. Do you think anybody from that era will show up at any of these series in any form or fashion or anything like that?
There's the big thing on the wish list is to have Archer show up.
Yeah.
The way it would work, I think, in Enterprise, the first 150 years, that's one of the first.
It's a super cool book.
It's a licensed book of the 150 years of the Federation, and Archer's awesome. It is an awesome book. Oh gosh, it is. Yeah. And if you have the collector's case, that makes it even better. But I don't.
Sulu's voice narrating memory alpha computer. It was like computer LCAR system. It's dope, man.
They did that for the Star Wars for the Book of the Jedi and the Book of the Sith too.
Yep.
They made them
holocron or whatever. Yeah.
So, but anyway, with that book, if they hold true to their word, okay, then I am thinking that they are probably going to have Bakula come in there as a very old Archer,
right?
President.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He made a He's like the fourth president, I think. But that President Archer there when Pike changes command with Kirk, I think is the way to work that they're going to try to work it in.
A really good way to work into it. To think about that.
And Bakula is what, pushing into his 70s now, so
70-ish. He's my dad's age. He'd be 68.
Yeah, so they won't have to do much work. That's the great thing. They probably won't have to do a whole lot of work on the makeup.
Right.
Add maybe a few more wrinkles. Yeah. But I mean, I think Bakula would be up for it too. I think that's one of those things that, they have this nice little change of command ceremony on the hangar deck, and Archer is there to introduce Kirk and to give Pike the pat on the back that he did a good job. Yeah. I can see that happening. I mean, really, what will really depend upon this is how they're going to portray this Gorn storyline.
Right.
Because up until now, Strange New Worlds has been very good about keeping to a purely episodic format. In other words, really no. I mean, we have the odd story about Spock and T'Pring, which is kind of. It's not an ongoing. It's not going to change the series direction. And but we all know that
too.
Oh gosh,
that's interesting for sure.
that was I know a lot of people who reacted to that in two fashions, and I was one of them. I thought my reaction was appropriate, which was, it's not a bad story, but right. I don't think Star Trek the musical is a good idea. I don't think so.
I like the episode where Singh's character went back in the past.
Yeah,
with the other parallel universe, Kirk. That was pretty cool.
Look,
met young Khan.
That tells me a lot of I mean, Lon was always going to be a questionable character until probably that point.
Right.
Because there she is. She is looking at Khan Noonien Singh as a boy. And she knows if she kills him, there won't be a third world war.
Right.
Okay? There won't be the Egyptian war.
Powerful stuff.
But the thing that that really stands out about it is she doesn't kill him.
Right.
Because that's her grandfather.
Right.
And on top of that, if it wasn't for him, there wouldn't be a Starfleet as we know it today.
It's true. Very true.
Humanity got tired of looking at its ugly ass self every time, and Khan just brought that all to the surface.
Right.
So when you're looking at that viewpoint, that makes absolute sense.
For sure.
And and the thing is they did a great follow up with it in the musical episode, where she and she tells Jim Kirk, look, I kind of sort of met you in an alternate timeline, and I wanted to know what you were like. And of course, the first thing he says, well, you have to understand it's a little complicated. I've got a girlfriend. She's pregnant with my kid. We're trying to figure things out, and she realizes that this sacrifice that she made in the past with an alternate timeline is meant to be for a certain reason. And Doctor Who fans would call it a fixed point in time.
For sure.
And that's exactly what it is. Don't mess with this. This is a great storytelling element. And to make La'an an object of Kirk's affections, which, as you know, there's a lot of mythology beyond Kirk being the ladies' man. And that's not even the truth. Kirk is not the ladies' man, though, again, people like to play up on that. It's not the truth. I mean, I'm glad Strange New Worlds hasn't gone down that route yet. They point out that Kirk...
Marcus in there, though, too.
Yeah. I would like to see Carol Marcus in there. I would. That would be... That would be interesting. I mean, if you're going to keep throwing Kirk at... You're going to be throwing Kirks at us, Sam and Jim, you might as well start throwing in the wives and the kids at some point.
Yeah.
What's going to... But I also know what's going to happen. Is that as soon as Kirk gets the Enterprise, Sam is probably going to retire out and go to Deneva. And that will have a nice little interesting turn of events. Right. But it just tells you. It also tells you there's a little bit of drama with the Kirk brothers. Unexpectedly, I mean, I didn't expect Kirk. I didn't expect Sam to have issues with Jim. But it does make sense because here he is. He's got Dad's name. He's already in Starfleet. But he's enjoying life sciences, and then here's his kid brother, who's just a rising star in the command track.
It's true.
And how can there not be any envy there or jealousy in that? Right. How can there not be? But it's written well, and the guys are doing a really good job of doing that dynamic, and also being true to the character's history as we know it.
We got to see the panel down there at STLV 57-year mission with Paul Wesley and the guy who plays Sam Kirk, and it was amazing. Right after that, they brought out Shatner, and so they're all on stage all together, all three Kirks.
I'm surprised they didn't get Chris Pine.
That Shatner panel was amazing, and he didn't really touch anything on Star Trek. He talked about all his new stuff. They piped him in to Australia or Sydney or somewhere via holographic transmission. So this technology that was that they piped him in with a recording and it put him in this kind of phone booth as a hologram, and he spoke to all these people in Sydney from LA.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
I mean, only 90 something these days.
It's like 92, I believe. Yeah.
Right. Look, I have a feeling that William Shatner will die in space because they asked him to go to the space station to do a one-night stand.
Wait, what? Are they really going to take him to the space station?
I would love to see him go back in space again.
Right, that'd be
cool.
I would love
to see Shatner back in space again.
Yeah. But I mean, the space stations they brought John Glenn up there, and he was older. So it was possible.
Yeah. When they brought John Glenn up there, he was a specialist on the shuttle mission. He had 6 other guys keeping an eye on him. So he was good. He was in good shape. Um, when Shatner went up on Blue Origin, Shatner was just a passenger, just like the other kids. They didn't do any real piloting. But I remember seeing the video of him and then hearing him at Fan Expo talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
He was the only one looking out the window.
Right. All those other people like popping champagne bottles and all this stuff. He was like completely like mesmerized.
He was so mesmerized. He was looking at the curvature of the Earth.
Yeah.
Totally gave into what astronauts call the overview effect, which is you look at Earth from such a height, you realize, there's this, Carl Sagan describes it as you finally realize you're on spaceship Earth.
Right. The pale blue dot.
Right. Yeah. And it's very rare to hear people talk about the overview effect, and when they're looking down, but to hear Shatner do it, and of course, I know a lot of people who are not fans of Shatner. They basically say, they see him as an arrogant, he's an arrogant SOB.
He's getting more humble from that, though. It seems he's also doing a lot of podcasts and broadcasting. I've seen him popping up all over the place.
Right, and he has a voice. He does know how. He has a voice and he has an opinion. He's just that a lot of people don't realize that, when he's on stage being the actor, you can effectively call him the Shat, and he is being the Shat.
Right.
He's going to tell his fans, it's really great. You want to have a nice 5-minute conversation with me, but I've got 1,000 people behind you,
right?
And I got to sign their pictures, and that is what I'm here to do.
We contacted his assistant, and we talked to her. Had some email correspondence. She said at this moment he's doing a lot of filming and stuff. But we'd like to contact her back because that was back in August. So August, September, might have to contact her back because we like to bring her on the broadcast and put her on him on Subspace Radio Network to have him come on and talk about. She was She was interested. They were interested about talking about the projects that are basically non-Trek related, which would be super cool, like the charity horse show he does. He's got a new watch out. He's got all kind of stuff, technology stuff he's working on, everything beyond.
Man, he is what we would call a modern Renaissance man.
For sure.
I mean, look, just when he was starting to make money off of Trek and T.J. Hooker and Boston Legal.
Boston Legal was an amazing show. I love that show.
Right.
Renee was in there too. Played Odo. He was in there as well.
A lot of Trek people went there.
James Spader from Stargate too.
No surprise. Really no surprise. It's really a small community of actors when they do that, and they all have good chemistry. But the thing about what I picked up about William Shatner and as Danny Crane was, you couldn't tell which was which.
That's true,
man. The thing is that William Shatner. William Shatner realizes he's playing Danny Crane, but when he's playing Danny Crane, he's like, "Well, I'm Danny Crane," and the room stops. Everyone goes quiet.
Himself, basically. Cool.
Right. You can easily see where he's he can be seen as an arrogant SOB. But the reality is that if he has friends, his friends will say he's one of the best guys in the world.
Yeah.
Very giving, very caring. His family will tell you the same thing. Yeah. It's just that usually the people who are having issues with him, they've had these issues for years, and sometimes the fans take sides with their favorite actor. It happens, and it's a and I get it. If you have a really good relationship with let's say Jimmy Doohan, and a lot of people did.
Right.
There's even the story of him helping a girl who was in a dark place,
right,
get better. Basically saying, look, you and I are going to meet again next year, and we're going to talk, and we're going to catch up. And he made friends. There are people too, and people tend to forget that aspect of it. Look, I have a picture of myself with Shatner, and I am nothing but a big old cheesy smile. Okay, I got a picture with him. I didn't get to meet the man because we had plexiglass between us. Okay,
but what?
But that was post-COVID, man.
Well, how did they do that though? With like plexiglass, they just put a big wall of it, or
that they were doing autograph shoots. So I got that picture, And what happened is that to protect William Shatner and any other actor that they were doing there, and this is when he was just off of Blue Origin.
Okay.
So he's already back from space and everything. He's not touching people. They're
So it's
keeping
like
him.
a little slot. You put it in, and he pushes it back out to you.
Well, so what happens is that when we get together to take a picture, it's like how how we got the split screen going on here. That's a bit of plexiglass right there.
That's a plexiglass wall right here.
Right. So William Shatner is to my right.
I should
Okay.
have done the thing where you'll have like
The thing is that there was such a line for that event, and that's again what people forget is that I could not engage him in conversation for long. I went basically. And I hoped he had heard me. I said, "Thank you for coming. Really great to meet you." Turned around, took my picture, and then moved out of the way for the next guy. And then it was like move.
Which event was this at?
Fan Expo.
Oh, that was the one down the year before last.
That was Okay. Yeah, that was their first show here in New Orleans. They planned it quick. They got Shatner in. That's what they needed to get people in the door. So they got Shatner in.
He my girlfriend back this year,
huh?
Is he going to be back there this year? Any of the actors from Star Trek?
Right now, I the last time I checked the cast list for Fan Expo New Orleans. Now this is for New Orleans show only.
Right.
We have Danny Trejo. Okay. Vincent D'Onofrio from
Daredevil and Ben and Black.
Charlie Cox from Daredevil, and I'm guessing the physical and voice actors from the first set of live action movies of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, nice!
Right.
Very cool.
So basically a lot of stuff for us old folk.
Right. That's good. I can't beat that, man.
Right, and so there's some opportunities here for a lot of that. But that's so far, just check back on the website. They'll tell you who else is coming in. We've already put in our paperwork for the New Orleans. So
we're coming. We'll see you down there, man. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
If I can't be there on the table, I'll just, ask to hop in on you and do podcast work.
We're going to be probably doing podcasts, it looks like, possibly some panels as well.
Awesome.
There's a few panels down there, and I don't know what else we're doing down there. There's a lot of stuff we're working on. So.
Yeah. Because I have no problem putting out my face and representing the Federation.
Can't beat that. Speaking of that, your link is right down here, trekfederation.com/donate. Can you tell everybody a little about what you guys do with the Federation, and also any upcoming events or things beyond Fan Expo?
Okay, so let's start with I'm going to start with what's going on with the Federation.
Okay.
Okay. As of right now, we're running two campaigns right now. We're running one's for the recovery of the wildfires in Hawaii.
Okay.
It's and just to let you give people kind of an update, Maui is now open for tourist business again, but Hawaii is still technically under wildfire threats with red flags.
Right.
We're also it's technically hurricane season 2023, and we've addressed a few of the systems that have hit, like Hillary on the west coast.
Hillary, right? Yeah.
And gosh, I can't remember. I think Ian on the no, not Ian, but the other one, Ian.
Something I forget.
Adelity or something like that. Ian Adelity. Yeah, sorry, can't get it pronounced, but it's the I storm.
There's two of them, though, big one, yeah.
Yeah, and that hit Florida earlier this year. Went and hit around what's called Big Bend, which was there's not a lot of big cities there, but there are a lot of swamp beach resorts and swamp towns.
Right.
And it crossed out through Georgia and South Carolina, and then finally, right now we're dealing with some issues with Felipe, which is coming back to the East Coast, or had come back to the East Coast as a nor'easter. So it's doing some some additional flooding and snowing, and it looks like by looking even at the forecast, we'll probably start having a lot of what's called uh, they're called atmospheric rivers
Mm,
coming off the west coast,
right.
which is driving a lot of snow across the west, the Midwest, and we'll start getting more rain.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what we're handling
What
locally.
events you got coming up? Anything before Fan Expo or?
Well, I did MovieCon
Okay.
last month,
Okay.
and let me give you a shout out. This was a con that was. I'm going to do a shout out for MovieCon, and I'll tell you what we're doing next.
Okay.
MovieCon is a really great show.
Mhm.
We had the opportunity of returning there. We hadn't been there in like about a decade.
Oh wow.
Well, it was a brand new show run by a brand new team of people
Right.
uh, who who generally understand that Mobile needs a strong science fiction
Sure.
a Comic Con. They have their roots are in anime, much like
Mhm.
MechaCon was back in New Orleans. So this is a good, strong convention. They came out the gate, and we're looking forward to seeing that and promoting them like we're doing now.
Especially
Uh,
6 months before, in the middle of a SAG strike and a writer's strike, they did an amazing job getting a guest lineup and all that.
and that not only that, um, the issue behind MobyCon, there's a little bit of history there.
Mhm.
This is actually an older show.
Yes.
It started by fans,
Mhm.
and it transitioned from one management team to another management team. I do believe this is management team number 3.
3 or 4
Uh,
or something.
right, and management team number 3 had really nothing to do with the previous administrations.
Right.
So they're basically brand new to this. They've done conventions.
We had Tommy Wetchen on a broadcast earlier this month or so ago, and he was telling us all about how, like, the structure of how it's. I think they're going to do another one next year, be even bigger and better, especially if the SAG strike can settle all that up. And yeah, he's really looking forward to that. Of course, he
So
has the largest gaming and RPG gaming company on the Gulf Coast store and a center for a community where people can come play and all. And he also runs a wrestling, I believe, Diamond Championship Wrestling or something like that.
it's it's a good outfit. I liked it. They treat us well, and there was a lot of things going on there, and we're hoping that it will. I mean, it's in downtown Mobile,
Right.
and
Got a lot of
that's
hotels and convention centers and all that stuff down there within
well, it was
reach.
just at a hotel. It was at just at a hotel, which had enough space to be its own convention center. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not
Was
particularly
it
big.
at the Plaza, Renaissance Riverview Plaza Hotel?
It was inside the Renaissance
Yes.
Riverside Mobile.
It's a
Uh,
long name for that hotel, by the way.
it's basically a Marriott, kids. It's a
It's a
Marriott.
massive Marriott Resort Hotel.
It's a
Yeah.
Marriott on the river of
Right.
Mobile.
Right.
All right. Um, and I
Big
mean,
hotel. Though.
it's well done. I mean, the even I even I mean, we went and enjoyed the restaurants on the property, and then we went around to some of the places nearby.
Right.
So downtown Mobile, I have issues with downtown being in downtown, paying all the money for like
Right.
parking and
Right.
whatnot. But let's face it, if this is how this convention is planning to survive, this is I mean, I've dealt with venues where, there's a lot more experience coming out of it. I mean,
Especially New
World War
Orleans,
One,
there's like nowhere to park downtown or anywhere, man.
right? Well, you got $20 a day
Right.
if you're trying to do convention center parking.
Right.
If you're lucky, you have a hotel that has its own parking that won't charge you,
Right.
other than maybe a one-time fee to use the spot.
Right.
Um, you know, the thing with New Orleans is that there's 3 hotels within walking distance of the convention center,
Yeah.
not of
There's
the hall.
Omni, the Riverfront, Marriott, and
Yeah,
the Embassy Suites or something like
maybe I'll probably be at one of the Marriotts there because I got my points for them.
We're
But
gonna be staying at one of those down there. I'm not exactly sure all the hotels we're gonna be. We're looking at
right,
them. I think we may have already locked down one. Actually, I forget.
well, I mean they don't. Now I know that Fan Expo doesn't do room blocks, so
They have most hotels, but no room blocks. Right.
that's right. So they just say these are hotels,
Mhm.
and we hope that we fill them, and
Right.
that sort of thing. Now, if they did it like after party events at these hotels or something to that effect,
I
Maybe.
don't know at the hotels. I know they do them at the. Official after events usually at different locations. I haven't read about this year, but I know a
I
lot of the celebrities hang out down there at the Omni. Because I'm staying at the Omni like every year I've been there.
Yeah, the Omni. I mean, when Wizard World was doing the show, it was the Metropolitan
Hmm.
Club down there.
Yeah.
But hey, you look at the Metropolitan; it's a two-story club, and
Is that
you
where
put
the old what was it? There's a club right there by the Omni, right behind there. Is that one?
maybe, yeah, that might
Yeah,
be it.
double decker club, and it's got a real nice stage. And like, because I was in there
Yeah,
playing video games one time, N64 on stage, while watching the band, while everything was going on in there with me and our good buddy Adam Atmore. So
but here it is. It's New Orleans, and we go through restaurants like candy. So it's like
kind of popping every restaurant there.
whatever. Now I will tell you this about Fan Expo this year. It's on top of. It's going to be on top of Mardi Gras
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So we are having the carnival earlier this year.
So is that
So
going to be going on the same time you say as Fan Expo?
we might see some carnival stuff.
Oh wow,
Uh,
cool.
like
When is the crew of Chewbacca's? Do you know when that is?
I can get you the dates,
Yeah, I'd like to know
but
more about that.
that would be Chewbacca's is usually it's usually earlier in the season, and
Okay,
they are a walking troupe
right.
primarily. So they come out now. If I'll have to check them. I'll send you the information
Yeah,
when
give
we
me
get
some
off.
information. If I'm down there, I'll be down there for Fan Expo, but I'm also coming down there later for Mardi Gras. My
Right,
father's wedding in the 75th anniversary of the Mississippi Time in Mobile, but I'm going to pass through the New Orleans area as well. So if we have time,
right.
we can go down there and cover that. And are you going to be there for Crew Chewbacca's? Or?
Well, I tell you what. I might be if I go to do anything with Chewbacca's, I'm going to pick up a corner on the sidewalk and put a
Mhm.
chair
Cool. Do they still line up in front of that coffee shop that they had? That they
down.
lined up
Hang
on
there. Chewbacca's will be January 20th,
January 20th. Okay.
so that's almost 2 weeks later.
About 2 weeks later. I think the
Yeah,
parade for.
January 5th is when we're doing Fan Expo New Orleans.
Mm,
January, about a week later, is the toy fair that we just got.
no, what is that?
That's January 10th, I think. January 10th, January 12th, I think. It's going to be in 2025. It's not going to be this year.
Okay.
But we got the toy fair, the what has been known as the New York Toy
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
Mm-hmm.
It's now transferring over to New Orleans. So
Really?
yes,
Oh
and that's a
wow, I
trade
didn't know
show.
that.
That's a trade show. So we
Yeah, I
can't.
know what it is. Yeah,
Well,
because
yeah,
you
we're
used to
not
have the
running
Wizard World used to do the Toy Fair magazine back in the day, toy magazine.
right.
The subscribe, I love that magazine. It's amazing.
So I guess that might be the part of that fallout. What we're planning to do next, though, now that we're hitting into winter,
Mhm.
uh, basically what we're looking at is you know what we're going to be doing after Fan Expo. So we're looking at Coast Con in March in Biloxi.
We like to go do that one as well. We got a few other ones we're doing after that. I think building up into the summer, we're going to do, of course, San Diego Comic Con. We're definitely looking at that one. And then
Right.
the Star Trek event in Vegas, we like to go back to that one.
Yeah, I've
Coast Con,
been
there's a lot of stuff we got on the grid we're looking at.
right. I mean, well, there's Sci-fi Con in Lake Charles for
Yeah,
us,
that's another one we're looking at. Yeah.
and we're probably going to be looking at. And I got to talk to the crew a little bit on it, but to depend on which ones we want to start targeting,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of shows in Texas,
Yeah. Some
and
great
there's a
ones.
lot of shows in the Gulf South too. So, I mean, I've got a significant amount of friends out in Florida, so I might consider going out to Orlando and see if I can do one of their conventions. There's a lot of conventions out in the Orlando area. There's a lot of conventions out in Pensacola.
Last time we
Pensacola,
were in Orlando was Pensacola City, but last time we were in Orlando, we were at the 40th anniversary of Star Wars Celebration put on by Reed Pop. That was awesome. They
right?
really Reed Pop as well as Fan Expo. Also, Reed Pop does amazing production with shows, and they're really very especially that year, very attentive for the media. They had like actual media seating in their auditorium. They had press junkets, all kind of stuff. That was really the first year we'd ever been to Celebration, and
Right.
we got some good interviews down there. It was a lot. Man, it was a million zillion, maybe I don't even know. We went to Chicago in 2019
Yeah.
for their celebration, and the last one after that I think was in London. We sent our correspondent, one of our contributors, down there for the London one. Next one's in
Right.
Tokyo. We know if we'll do Tokyo. If it comes back to the U.S., if it's in Anaheim or Orlando, we definitely want to do that. So that'd be awesome.
Mhm. I mean, I'm trying. I mean, some of my crew is already starting to think that maybe the best bet for us is to go out to do the Vegas run
Yeah, it's a
because
great
that's like,
event. I really highly recommend it. I actually talked to the guys at the Federation down there. They had a booth right there, premium floor space, by the way, right there
yeah,
by a lot of the actors and stuff like that. That's a beautiful event they put on by Creation.
right.
Got a lot
And
of
we, I know the guy.
160.
I said once I saw the pictures and everything he was doing, I said that guy better get not only a medal for what he just did, but a promotion as well. I personally rubber stamped that guy. So,
Really good.
and
We interviewed him, had him on the radio, and got a video interview that's coming up next with him as well. We've got a lot of archive content we've got still trickling out, a few more pieces from
you
the.
know that that's the beauty of it. You guys got archive content. You can just put it up there. At any time you need on the site and on your YouTube channels and stuff.
We've launched all the STLV pictures. We have
Uh,
not done all the videos. We've got about, I think there's maybe 5 or 6 more videos or something like that. We're going. We just did 3 or 4 more. So
so I'm looking forward to doing more stuff like that.
that
I just
works.
got to get the right people to do it. I mean, the thing about being a convention a president, or not a convention president, but a chapter president, is that we get limited funds, so we have to figure out how we're going to do it, and then get down there and do it right.
That's right.
But that's why we capitalize on our. I mean, one of the other things I point out that we don't really talk a lot about, and I will stress on it, is the small, really small library cons,
Right.
um, because they are the heart of the community that you're trying to talk to,
For sure.
and not to mention, libraries are going through their various challenges.
Yeah.
So if you want to show support to a library, and they're having an event, you should show up there and help out with that, or volunteer for the library, as a volunteer.
Always
Um,
game. Always game to do
yeah,
that. We got to wrap up the show here, Randolph. We're running a little out of time here. I wanted to thank you for joining on board. Everybody
thank
go
you,
down to truckfederation.com/donate. I will see you soon, brother.
thank you. Take care.
Long and prosper, man.
Live long and prosper.